What video game am I going to play today? Okay. Working on it, played it, made it, overrated. About to make a sandwich, doobity-doo. Babe, my laptop's dying. Can you actually pass me the charger on your side of the... What the fuck? Well, fucking fine, assholes. I'll talk about Spider-Man 2. Okay? Here it goes. Spider-Man 2. Kind of a flawed sequel.
Dude, this video has been the hardest one I've ever had to make. Even harder than me when I see your mom. Boom, got you guys right away. Classic Spencer moment.
Kerprank! You're watching Kerprank!
But serious, this has been a really hard video to make. Deadass. So about a year ago, a game that I was anticipating so much came out, and that game was Spider-Man 2 for the PS5. If you haven't seen my other video on the first Insomniac Spider-Man game, then I think you should go see that before we start talking about the sequel. But to sum it up, I love Insomniac Spider-Man. I glazed the hell out of that game. I am Spider-Man. I'm a Spider-Man dick rider, bro. So when Spider-Man 2 was released, I was really expecting to just ride that cock, quite frankly. In layman's terms, and just blindly love it. So it pains me to say this, but like, it's a slightly flawed game. I know, you guys wanted to see me dick ride this game. Trust me, I wanted to too. And trust me again when I say that there will be some dick riding in this video. Because there is a lot of things that I do like about this game, but to start, I think we should talk about what makes this a flawed follow-up to the first. I should preface everything by saying that this game is probably the most spectacular looking game that PlayStation Studios has made to date. And honestly, it plays really well too. The swinging is even better than it was in the first. It adds the web wings, which make it so much more fun to go around the city. And even though the gameplay is mostly the same from the first, it's still pretty fun to beat the shit out of people and basically hand them out hospital bills. But my main gripe with the gameplay is that both Spider-Man are basically the same. When it was announced that you were going to be able to play as both Miles Morales and Peter Parker, I was really expecting them to, like, you know, make them different. But nah, they basically get the same abilities and the same 4 gadgets. Peter has 4 special abilities that he uses that are either the Doc Ock arms or the symbiote skills, which... Why does it look like cum, guys? Why does it look like cum? Why does it look like Peter's spraying cum everywhere?
Yes! More spit, Marty! More spit!
I don't want to be playing the game and have my mom walk in and just be like, oh shit, no, this game's cool. It's not, he's not coming. Well, why does it look like cum? You know, and then we get Miles, who fucking just has Goku electric powers, I guess. Having them feel the same when you're playing, it makes it less special to switch between the two. Like, what if instead they made Peter the stealthy spider? Peter gets all the gadgets and you bring back the weapon wheel from the first one with the web bombs and all that stuff to make stealth more interesting, because unlike the first game, I think stealth in this one seems kinda irrelevant, considering that both Miles and Peter have so much power that you can basically just barrel through enemies. Then you can just make Miles the Spider-Man that just goes straight into the fight. Then it would have made it more interesting to switch between the two. If I feel like doing stealth, I could have picked Peter, and if I wanted to beat up everyone in sight, I pick Miles. But instead, they kinda just made both Spider-Men the same, which kinda bummed me out. Other than that, I guess the gameplay is still like good. Everything flows pretty well. The fighting still feels super smooth and satisfying. But I think the other big problem that I have with this game is Miles. Look guys, I love Miles Morales. Dude, the exaggerated black swagger that guy gives off when he flips off a building and goes back first, don't get me started.
The way he leaps off of rooftops and flips backwards to face the camera before falling into a headfirst dive is just full of the exaggerated swagger of a black teen.
He's honestly one of the coolest Marvel characters, and movies like Spider-Verse kind of prove this. It proves that with good writing, you can make him a character that is loved around the world, except for the really gross racist people on Twitter. But in Spider-Man 2, Miles kind of feels like an afterthought. Like the one where he's fighting Lee, but he lets him escape because it's the right thing to do. Or when he fights Peter to get the symbiote off. Or the part where him and Lee have to go into Peter's mind to save him, and Miles sees all the pain and loss that Peter had to suffer through his entire life, and how much of a mental toll that takes on him. All of those are really great moments in a good game, but altogether, it just feels like Miles' character wasn't given enough time to actually get a really good arc. It didn't feel like they wanted him to be the main character. It's like he was just kind of shoved into this game, which is weird because it's Spider-Man, and he's Spider-Man. Like I said, Miles just kind of seems like an afterthought. He's kind of just there, doing his own stuff, which is fine, but it doesn't seem as important to the overall story as the stuff that Peter's doing. He also gets this shitty ass Adidas promo suit, which makes me want to just chuck my PS5 at the goddamn window.
What the fuck are you wearing?
It's time for a Miles Morales original, you know? One of one.
That shit's ass, bro.
What also bothers me about this game, and many other sequels of video games do this, it feels like the first game, but with minor tweaks.
We are same, but different. But still same.
Like, the biggest problem they have is that they still have this side content things where it's just copy and paste. For example, the Sandman missions. You just beat up sand people until you get the crystal, and you do that a certain amount of times until you're done. And that is basically how all these open world quests go. You just basically go there, you smash square until you complete the objective. It doesn't add anything to the game other than making it slightly longer. The first game did this too, and although it was annoying then, it was something that I thought they would improve on for the sequel, but instead, I would argue that it's even more annoying and more boring in this one. Sorry, but I really don't feel like taking pictures of two people throwing a goddamn frisbee. I'm here to play Spider-Man 2, not Pokemon Snap. I guess what I can say is that I think the story is unique. What I mean by this is that when you see certain Spider-Man media, especially with the symbiote suit, a lot of writers tend to retread the same kind of ideas. Here though, there are some new ideas that are being brought into this story, or this version of this story. We have Harry being the Venom, Miles being involved in helping Peter get rid of the suit, and all in all, seeing how Peter thinks he needed the suit because it made him a better Spider-Man, one that wouldn't ever have to see any more loved ones lost, makes sense. It's a lot of neat ideas. Peter's an older version of the character, he's already suffered a lot of loss, so to have this new suit that gives him so much power, it makes him believe that, well, with this, I'll never have to go through that ever again, because no one will be able to stop me. And it's just so good. I do like that. I also do like the idea of the past holding these characters back. For Miles, he lost his dad, and the only way he sees himself getting better is by killing Martin Lee. Peter, on the other hand, is still grieving over the loss of Aunt May, and he receives the black suit and all that power, and he sees it as a way for him to never have to go through that loss ever again. Both Spider-Men have to come to terms with their past so they can progress into the future. And yeah, that might not be as unique as a theme as I kind of wanted, but I think it's still good nonetheless. The main problem is, though, that the pacing is still horrendous. The third act feels incredibly rushed, especially compared to the first part of the game where it's just so slow and it takes its time. Spider-Man 2 has great things in it. And I'm not going to sit here and just say that it's a bad game, because I can't. Because it's not a bad game. But what I will say is that there is a lot of wasted potential here. If I were to say anything, I would say that this is a flawed sequel. There is so much that they could have done with this, but it really feels like Sony kind of rushed development on this so they could just make their cash back. As that guy from Toy Story 2 says, you can't rush art.
So, how long is this gonna take?
You can't rush art.
But unfortunately, you can rush game development if you just crunch people super hard, and you gotta make sure that they never see their family members.
Release me! Release me!
Oh, what are you gonna do? You're gonna complain? What are you gonna complain? Okay, we'll just fire you, dumbass. Monkey could do your job. See, I would make such a great CEO. One thing I think is that Spider-Man 2 does have a really gripping story.
It's grippy there, isn't it? Or maybe it farts. That was so funny. That made me laugh so hard.
Seeing Peter battle his demons and the whole fight between Miles and getting the suit off, he says some stuff that literally makes me want to cry. Like, it's so sad.
I need this suit. It makes me a better Spider-Man. You just want it for yourself. All I wanted was to save everyone. MJ, May,
Now the city thinks that I'm the problem.
You think I'm the problem?
But I'm not anymore.
I'm the solution.
This game does understand Spider-Man, but what it doesn't do well is give us better open world content and let characters other than Peter shine. I think with enough time, there is a better version of this game, and it sucks that we're never going to be able to play that version. But at the very least, I hope that Spider-Man 3 is something that is a little bit different and gives us a little more variety. But maybe that is just wishful thinking. Video games are not easy to make. They take time, they take effort to make one even look half decent. Look at any one of your favorite games and odds are that it took years of blood, sweat, and tears to finish it. The fact that they pushed this game out and it still looks the way it looks is outstanding. But with Spider-Man 2, it just feels like the game was so rushed that developers were forced to reuse and repeat a lot of what was already there. There isn't much variety in combat and enemies. All the side content is just rinse and repeat, and some of the story feels like it was rushed to get to the finish line. There is so much to love and there's so many great moments in this game, but in the end, there is just so much that was left on the cutting room floor that I can't help but feel disappointed in this follow-up. Spider-Man 2 should have been even better than its predecessor, but it ends up failing to meet expectations that I and many other fans had for it. And that does not mean that it is a bad game, but rather a disappointment. It will sit there right on my shelf as a reminder of the wasted potential that it held, haunting me for the rest of my existence. Or I'll just probably play another game, actually, I don't know. Anyway, 7.5 out of 10, it's fine. Anyways, that was the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed. It does kind of suck to talk so badly about this game because I think you all know that I really wanted to like it. And for the most part, I do, but there's just so much repetitiveness that this game just kind of becomes boring. And it shows how rushed this game must have been when it just kind of is a more polished and glossier version of the first. Like I said, I hate when video game sequels are like that. The idea of like, okay, we need to make a sequel to this game. What do we do? Oh, I don't know. Make the map bigger and better graphics and a little bit of a different story. Okay, boom, we're done. Everything else is the same. So Insomniac, please listen when I tell you that Spider-Man 3 needs to be different. I know they're not listening because, you know, most of the people that are probably 30-year-old men who are probably currently taking a dookie right now. And they're probably sitting there on their phones ready to tell me how wrong I am or something. I don't know. Remember to like and subscribe. So yeah, let's keep at doing that, my kings and queens and in-betweens. Okay? Remember to leave a comment because I do love hearing your beautiful voices in my computer. Remember to stay safe, stay healthy, and stay sexy. Okay. Bye.
Reach this bus, eat 'em up, eat 'em up, eat 'em up, eat 'em up. Reach this bus, eat 'em up, eat 'em up, eat 'em up, eat 'em up. I got Reese's Puffs in my bowl, nowadays on cruise control. I got Reese's Puffs in my bowl, just like that.